Hello, welcome to Bluegrass Community and Technical College. This video is to help you get started in our course called Chemistry in Society, labeled Chemistry 120. So in this video, I will help you navigate through BCTC's website to access the course in Blackboard and to show you how to access the materials in the learning units. This course is a great course for most Bluegrass Community and Technical College students. It is a course for those of students who are not majoring in a science like biology or chemistry, but they need a chemistry credit in order to fulfill the requirements of their major. It does transfer to the University of Kentucky, so it has access throughout the state, and it's a great class to show you how chemistry is a part of your everyday life. It's not as math heavy as Chemistry 140 or Chemistry 170. It's here to explain how you will see chemistry in your cell phones, in global climate change, and pollution, and then we get into medical applications as well. So to get started, you see the Google website, and you can type BCTC, search for that, and you're at BCTC Home, and click on that. And then yours will look a little different here, but if I go to current, you could go to current students. I'm going to go to the faculty and staff, and then what that gets you to is My Path. So you will get to that as well. So click on My Path. When you get to My Path, you will click on Blackboard. And you should have a left sidebar. That's what this is called. On the left sidebar, you would hit Courses. And you should see Chemistry 120. It should be open at that point. But you would click on the Chemistry 120. You can read through what's new on Blackboard if that pops up. And then what yours will look like, if I give a student view here, just to show you what this would look like when you access it, it would look something like this. You should look at the Blackboard LMS, which stands for Learning Management System Navigation. And then you would go to Start Here. Now, Start Here is very important. This is where you're going to find most of your information. Click on the down arrow here. That opens up everything under that folder. We have Course Overview. This gives you information about the course. This is where your course tour orientation video is. So this is what I'm making, is a course tour orientation video. And so you'll be able to click here and actually access the video. Why the course matters, and then the course competencies. Course materials, we have an electronic version of the book, and that is included in, when you signed up for this course, it was included in that tuition. I recommend a hardwired connection to the internet. What that means is not just Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is fine for reading. It's fine for maybe doing your homework, but when you're taking something that's timed like a quiz or an exam, it's better to have an Ethernet connected computer. It works faster. It's not likely to disconnect. And so that's why a hardwired network connection is best. Now you say, how does that happen? Well, if you have a router, in the back of your router, there's probably a port to actually connect an Ethernet cable. We will use a periodic table, and I will give you one of those. It's posted in Blackboard. Probably the biggest thing out of this slide is that you can only use one type of calculator in this class, and that is a TI 30X-2S calculator. Cost about $14. We use this for all chemistry classes at Bluegrass Community and Technical College. It's a requirement. It's a departmental requirement. It's so that everybody's on the same playing field when they're taking exams. If you plan to take any other chemistry courses, you'll use this same computer or calculator. And I don't think it's much of a hardship. If it is, you can contact me. We may have some to loan here, but you will need that particular calculator. All right, so then we have the syllabus. So we have two things here. We have the syllabus, and then we also have the schedule. And I've placed both of these here so that you can follow along with the class and that I know life gets busy and sometimes you get lost into what's due when. And this is one place that you can look. So if you click on the schedule, it pops up and tells you classes begin on Monday. Notice my week is Monday through Thursday. This class really meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so that's why the calendar looks a little compact, but I do that to cut out all the extraneous materials that you don't need, and it makes it easier to read and blow up and so forth. So this is the syllabus. This is what you're getting into when you take this course, and it's very manageable. Like I said, most students really they enjoy this class because it's cool to see how chemistry is in your everyday life. Let's talk about the syllabus. So that was the schedule, and you will see the schedule in the syllabus as well. But let's go through this. My name is Dr. Brent Eldridge. This is my email address. This is the way you'll contact me. I sometimes work remotely, so the phone is not the best option. It's best always to email me. Make sure you use the KCTCS email address and that you use your KCTCS email address because if you don't, it could go into a different folder, the spam folder, and I may not see your communications. Now, some people and some professors like you to use Blackboard Messenger. I do not. And the reason why is when you send a message through Blackboard, which is the learning management system we use, it can be delayed, and I cannot reply to that email directly in my Outlook account. So that becomes a little bit more of a delay in order to get a response. It's better just to email me directly. So if you do email me, just put in the subject line Chem 120 19Z1. So therefore I know which class it is, and then I can confirm that with the roster. And if you want to put something other than that, add that plus what your concern is. You can put that in the subject line as well. But I do want to see the Chem 120 19Z1 there. Emails will generally be responded to within 24 hours from 8 a.m. Monday to 6 p.m. on Thursdays. After 6 p.m. Thursday, generally it'll be next Monday before I respond. So if you want to contact me, try to contact me between Mondays and Thursdays. I do have office hours. This is where you can have a video virtual meeting. You can also actually stop by the office if you're on campus. My office hours are 9 to 9:30 on Tuesday and 10:45 to 1 on Tuesday and Thursday. And then that is my 5 office hours. Yeah, that's my 5 office hours for the week. All times are in Lexington, Kentucky time, whether that be daylight savings time or Eastern Standard Time, but it is Lexington, Kentucky time. I know I have students taking this course in state, out of state. Just know that right now we're on daylight savings time. We will be on Eastern time, but it is Lexington, Kentucky time. If you want to make an appointment, um, like a virtual meeting, you click on this link and it'll pop up a little calendar, and the calendar will tell you these times available here. They're generally in half-hour sessions, and so if there's one available, that you click on that and put in what your concerns are, and I'll try to prep for that before we meet. My area coordinator is Dr. Shelley Larrabee, and again, best way to contact her is through the KCTCS email account. And my division assistant dean supervisor is Dr. Marilyn Akins, and you can contact her at this number. Course description. This course is for non-science majors. Its main concepts and applications in our society. All right. So here's what a lot of students, I think, kind of gloss over. This is a 3-credit-hour course. That means that you will spend 45 contact hours in this course, which is the reading that you do, the emails that I send, the tests that you take, the quizzes, the learning smart system, and then what the general rule of thumb is, for every 1 hour that you spend in class, you will spend 2 hours outside of class. So 2 times 45 is 90. 90 plus 45 is 135 hours total for the semester. Now that may seem like a lot. If you divide that by 16, that's how many weeks are in the semester. It is manageable. And if you will follow that as a general rule of thumb, you will master the material. And if you intend to go on to Chemistry 130, if you want to be a nurse and you want to get your BSN at UK, that would be the next course you would take, is Chemistry 130. Other allied health majors will take Chemistry 140, and that would be a good course to take after Chemistry 120. Generally, after you take Chemistry 140, then you will be ready for General College Chemistry. So that's kind of the process. I've seen plenty of students have had no chemistry whatsoever, pretty weak in their math. They do well in this class. It develops an interest in chemistry and how chemistry is integrated into other fields. And they progress really well because they get a solid foundation here of interest. And then they take 140 and get some of that math and a little bit deeper into the concepts. But they've seen the concepts, or at least been exposed to them in Chemistry 120. And then once they are successful in Chem 140, they will go on and take General College Chemistry. I've seen it multiple times. It's better to start where you know and work your way up than trying to jump into the deep end of the pool and trying to swim. So it's a great class for that. So these are the outcomes, and these are the general education outcomes. You can click on that link. There's Kentucky Essential Skills. This is what's required. That should happen when you go through your 2 years at Bluegrass Community Technical College. You can read why this class matters, and then we'll move to course attendance and participation policy. So this is an online course. The content and the assignments are delivered online through Blackboard, and there are no online meetings scheduled. I am available by appointment, just as we showed. You would click on the link up here for an appointment. Okay. Now, most things are the things that are due in this class, they are open for multiple days. And so as long as you're turning those things in before their due date, you're considered participating in class. But when you start missing materials, we do starfish reports, and I will report that you are missing materials. And generally, you'll be contacted by someone that's in student services. Some people say, well, I'm sick, or death in the family, or major religious holiday. Those things, and you can read this, what generally happens if you miss something, that you get two drops, and this isn't dropped from your physical grade book, but it's dropped in the calculation of your grade. So if you have one of these excused absences, then that material will be dropped. Now, for an exam, you'd have to have an excused absence that meets these requirements, and if they don't, then a zero will be assigned for that particular exam. Vacation, that's one I see a lot of. That's not an excused absence, or having to go to work, or if your computer is broke. And the reason why is the materials are open multiple days, and if your computer's broke or your internet's down, you can always come to the Bluegrass Community Technical College libraries, or really any other KCTCS library, and generally your public library, and access this material online and complete it. Do not wait till the deadline to finish your work. I see a lot of students wait till the very last minute to do their work. That's not what the deadlines are in this class. That is the absolute deadline, but you should try to finish the materials sooner rather than later. If you need accommodations, make sure you contact Student Accessibility Services and they will contact me. I can only do accommodations that come through their office. And if you have this at other KCTCS colleges, you still have to contact Bluegrass Community Technical College's Student Accessibility Services so that it's documented and the materials can go through. So just keep that in mind if you do need some accommodations. Class materials, regular and consistent access to a computer that's not more than 5 years old. And the reason why is computers that are over 5 years old, sometimes they can't handle video and microphone and learning management system all going off at the same time on your computer. And so we just find that generally computers that are more than 5 years old can't handle the material. If you need a computer, we do have loaner computers at BCTC. Go to the BCTC library on Newtown campus and sign out a computer that you can use throughout the semester. And that computer will have a webcam. It will have a microphone. You will need to provide the high-speed internet. And then McGraw-Hill Connect is included in this course. And then again, in bold here, the TI-30X 2S calculator is required. Periodic tables provided in Blackboard. You'll want to make a printout of that when you take an exam so you can look at it while you're doing your homework or taking an exam. And you will have the Connect ebook, which is the book that we use called Chemistry in Context. If you don't like reading from a computer screen, you can purchase the book. You can purchase it at our bookstore, or you can purchase it directly through McGraw-Hill Connect. Again, all materials are due at Lexington, Kentucky time. Here's the book. Here's our digital course fee policy. Again, that's what you paid when you paid the tuition for this course. Here are some optional textbook or materials. I do have my own YouTube channel called Professor Chemistry, all one word with a capital P and a capital C. And I have over 88 videos of different concepts in chemistry. Now, most of those are beyond 120, but there are some 120 videos, especially the things that I think you're going to have the most difficulty with. And I don't mind making a video for you. If there's something you don't understand and you don't see it in that library, just email me and give me a little bit of time, maybe 24 to 48 hours, something like that, and I'll try to make a video on that particular concept. You have Khan Academy, which is great. It's sort of like what I do, but it's professional. It's been funded by Microsoft, so about anything you can find on my channel, you can find on Khan Academy, and they'll have nicer figures and videos and so forth. You don't really need a molecular model set for this class. And then we may have BrainFuse online tutoring, but we'll have some type of online tutoring at BCTC if you need that. So So the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to open up Blackboard. You're going to see the course. You're going to watch this video. There is going to be a Connect orientation video, and you'll click on that, very easy. And then the LS for Chapter 1 is due by August 25th by 11 p.m. And you want to make sure you complete this. And the reason why is that on Wednesday, August 26th, if you did not complete the LS or any other materials, you will be purged from the class. So that's the way we work it, BCTC. Any student who does not actively participate through completing required assignments will be purged from the class on Wednesday, August 26th in 2026. The main thing to do is do the work. And if you do that, you won't be purged. If you are purged, you will get your money back for the class. So don't feel like you've lost your money. And if you don't feel like after reading the book and maybe doing the Learn Smart, maybe the first assignment, if that feels like too much along with what else is going on in your life, you may want to withdraw from the class in the first week, so you'll get your money back and it won't be on your transcript. All right, so your graded components are the reading and comprehension of those contents in each chapter. I can't stress enough, if I want to say one thing about this class, it's about reading. It's different to read technical writing than it is prose or novel or something like that. So you need to read this material 3 to 5 times. And you say, well, I don't like reading. Well, the reason why you don't like reading is because you haven't practiced enough. Because this is pretty easy reading. And if it seems difficult, then that says I need more practice. So that's the same thing with weightlifting, right? If you try to lift too heavy a weight, it's overwhelming. Your sore muscles, it's no fun, you quit. But if you start at the bottom and work your way up, if you do well in the reading here, develop better reading skills, then you'll be ready for Chem 140, which will challenge your reading skills even more before you get to general college chemistry. So I can't stress enough that reading is the most important thing. And this book is well written. That's why I chose this book. It's very accessible. I think most people can read this and comprehend it. And I think it's interesting. I think the materials presented are interesting while they weave a particular chemistry concept into that material. So Connect has an LS, also called an SB Smart Book. It's just, so a lot of students, I will say, if I have any complaints about the materials, it's this Connect LS or SB. And all it's doing is testing you on your reading comprehension. And if all you're doing is looking at the question and then looking at the book to search for the answer, it gets tedious. And there's a lot of questions. But if you've really read the material and you comprehend it, you'll breeze through the SB. You might forget 1 or 2 questions, but you can easily go back and find those. But if you're just hunting and pecking through there trying to find the answers, yes, the LS is going to show that. And yes, it's going to be tedious. And yes, you're probably going to complain about it at the end of the semester. But it is really important. That's why I put it in there. That's why McGraw-Hill, the company that makes this, they know reading is most important. And this is the way we test on reading comprehension. So when you start answering the LS questions and you start like, I don't know the answer without looking in the book, that means you need to stop and you need to read the book some more. And maybe take notes after each little section, summarize what that was about, especially the terms in bold. If you'll do that, this is easy. It's not that challenging. And that's the process. And again, can't stress enough about the reading. Then you have assignments. The assignments, we try to minimize the math, but there is going to be some math in these assignments. And the thing about the assignments are, you start on them when they're first open. You do a little each day so you don't get frustrated. The math is pretty simple. And now some of you may think it's complex, but it's going to get much more difficult in my other chemistry courses that I teach. So this is a great foundation of percentages, maybe. Like if you have a pair of jeans that are $100 and they're 20% off, you're paying $80. So you can do that with the math. It's pretty simple ratio math. A couple conversion factors, and so this is great practice for that. And you got a lot of time. So if you're struggling with the math, you got more time on this to figure it out. And there's a lot of help for this as well. But you got to kind of learn the mechanics of how do you take um, the materials that's in a reading problem, organize them, and then arrange that in a way to solve a problem. Quizzes are 10 questions. They're timed for 20 minutes. And I call this it's it's still part of your formative problems, your formative assessment, uh, and that is to prepare you for the exam, which I call a summative or summative assessment. So the summative assessments are those assessments after two chapters. There's 60 questions. You have an hour or 30 questions. You have 60 minutes to take them. And you should be able to answer those questions out without referring to the book. And if you run out of time, that means you didn't really understand it or not proficient enough to do an exam. And so hopefully that gets caught at the quiz. Like if you can't answer those 10 questions in 20 minutes without referring to the book, you really haven't learned the material yet. You haven't comprehended it well enough. So that's why I like the quiz. It kind of preps you before you take the exam. And then we'll have a comprehensive exam. That's actually posted in Blackboard. It's not a McGraw-Hill exam. It is an exam I created. And it kind of encompasses everything that we covered this semester. So the exams are not proctored in this course. They are in my other courses, but for Chem 120, which is an introductory course, this is about the appreciation of chemistry. It is trying to get your skills up to the ability to do well in the next course, Chem 140. And so if you're cheating here, it's just not going to work. If you don't get that foundation that you need in this course, which is what I'm trying to do, and showing you how, spark an interest in chemistry, because a lot of people, when you hear the word chemistry, they think it's so abstract and they think it's so hard, and it's not. It's where you start. You start off in the shallow end of the pool. You move around in the water and get comfort with it. That's what this course is about. So if you're cheating in this course, it's not good. It is not good, and you're going to see that. There are people who do, and they'll get their credit, but later on, you're going to see a lot of pain. Because if you don't get that reading down, build your reading skills up and your simple math skills up in this course, the next class gets more difficult. So a couple additional statements. Once your grade's posted in Connect, not Blackboard, but Connect, you have 4 days if you want to appeal that grade. That doesn't happen. I don't remember the last time it's been appealed, but you just let me know and I'll look at the question and see if something's wrong with it. But at this point, unless something's changed over the summer, I think it'll be fine. Midterm, you will get a midterm grade, and it's listed in the syllabus calendar course schedule. And after midterm, you cannot withdraw from this class. So some classes allow you to withdraw right up until the last week before finals. This course does not do that. This course has you withdraw, make your decision at midterm whether you're going to withdraw or not. For this course, I generally don't recommend withdrawal unless you are, making 30% at the midterm, because that means you've missed a lot of materials. Most people are doing well in this class. There'll be a few that may have a D in the class because they're just not engaged in the material. Even a D can pull their grade up the second half. But if, don't do that. Don't get behind. Keep your grade up all along, and that will propel you into the next courses. This is how you're graded. Each Learn Smart module is worth 10 points. The total is 80. You'll actually do 10 modules, but you get to drop your two lowest. So that's why it's 80 points for this, 80 points for the assignment, 80 points for the quizzes. Your exams, you're going to have 5 exams, and each one's worth 60 points for a total of 300 points. And then the final exam is worth 20 points. Now that is a smaller amount for the final exam. And the reason why we do this is it's called low stakes testing. So again, the whole thing here is to develop you, and it's not about being concerned about the letter grade. If you do everything correctly, if you engage the materials, your grade will be there. And so low stakes testing is more about, did you really comprehend what you've done, and you can take that with you to the next course. So that's why it's that. There's your cutoffs for, so we do a point scale in this class, not percentage. So this is how many points you need for an A. And again, the points accumulate as you complete the materials. Probably the thing people don't understand, I hear this now, somebody will email me somewhere in the semester. They said, well, I was called into work, or I was sick, or I had to go to a funeral or something like that. And what happens here is this class has a no excuse policy. I don't want to be the judge of the excuse. So what I do is I just say your lowest two Learn Smarts, your lowest two assignments, and your lowest two quizzes are dropped in calculating your overall grade. And it is pretty generous, but here's what it is. Those are formative assessments, and just because you miss it doesn't mean you don't have to learn it. You still have to learn it. You still have to perform on the exams and the comprehensive final exam. But I know things happen during the semester, and I don't want you struggling, trying to learn this other material while we're moving on to the new material. And so, and I want you to feel like you can manage that yourself. So that's what happens. If something pops up, don't worry about it. Just make sure you try to learn it at some point before the exam. And yes, your lowest two grades will be dropped. Now, I see some students say, well, I'll just drop these first ones. You don't want to do that. You want to complete all the materials the best you can. And then hopefully your lowest things dropped are going to be your 100%, right? If everything's a 100%, then yes, the lowest two will still be dropped. But I see students who they start slow in this class, and they miss things right off the bat, and then something really big happens after midterm, and there's no more to drop, and so that starts really affecting your grades severely. So don't use these as like, oh, I just don't want to do it. Make sure you try to complete all the materials. Again, withdrawal procedures. If you are going to withdraw, Sunday, October 11th is the last day to withdraw from the class. After that, you are in the class till the end of the semester. You say, why do you do that? Well, if students withdraw at midterm and you're on financial aid, the money goes back into the pool of financial aid money. So another student has that money available next semester. After midterm, the institution keeps the money, and that money's out of the pool. So by making it midterm, money goes back into the pool for other students. Here's some general resources if you need help. All right. And we do offer a lot of help at BCTC. If you're food insecure, we can get you some food. If you maybe you're behind on your rent, I think that can be accommodated as well. Contact Bluegrass Services. All right. I do intellectual diversity. You can read this, but we encourage you to explore, to make sure your voice is heard. It is about you. You're developing yourself for society. We're here to support that development. And one of the slogans of KCTCS is your success is our success. And I do believe that. I mean, that's why we teach, right? We want our students to succeed. It's a psychological um, reward for teachers to see our students excel. And I'm connected to many of my students that I've taught over these years, and it's just neat to see how they coming in here as a freshman and how they progress through the course. And yeah, I know there's difficult times. Everybody has difficult times at some point, but they progress, they learn it, and they grow. And I had a lot of students that start in 120 thinking, I can't do anything in the sciences. I'm terrible at science. And they take 120, they take 140, they take 170, then they take 180. And the next thing you know, they're an engineer or they're in a pre-allied health like physician assistant or a couple or pharmacy. That I have quite a few pharmacy students, and I've had a few pre or medical students. So it is neat. It's neat to see that happen, and a few chemists, a few. All right. So academic integrity. I expect you to do. The integrity is a really important part here. If you're making 100% on the LSs and the assignments and the quizzes, but then you're bombing the exams, that tells me you're not really learning the material. By the time you get to the exam, it ought to feel like, oh, I'm just summarizing all the stuff, the work I've put into that point. So you do that on your own. Now, that's what integrity is. Integrity is what you do when nobody's watching. All right? And you want to be that way. The advantage of that is people trust you. You develop a trust, and with more trust becomes more responsibility. And yeah, we see where people are gaming the system and things like that on the news and media and so forth. Don't fall into that trap. You'll feel better about yourself if you do it on your own and you really learn the material. And if you're not learning the material, it's time to get help. We've got tutors. You can schedule office hours with me, but that's a better path to go down than just to, cheat yourself or give up. I can't stress that enough. It it's about integrity. It is. I mean, if people don't feel like you have integrity, you're not going to get those high paying jobs. You're not going to get those positions where you're a leader because they have to assume that you have integrity. And it starts with academic integrity and then just integrity in yourself. If you have a complaint, there is a complaint process to go through. Um, if I do record a session, which you shouldn't, this is the kind of recordings I do. I don't think there's going to be anything that would release something that gives student information out. So I'm not as interested in that one. And if campus is closed, we still have class because this is an online class and materials are open for multiple days. So maybe the power goes out a day. That's why you got to work ahead of the deadlines. All right. And if the power goes out, maybe you can get the BCTC and you can do that, do those materials here. So there are things you can do. If the campus is closed, yeah, you can't come to BCTC, but hopefully maybe it's not, you haven't lost power at your library or at your home. Here's the schedule of what's due. So like our class starts Tuesday. Before Tuesday, read the syllabus. Email me if you have questions. Read the syllabus, log into McGraw-Hill Connect, read the preface and the ebook. Go to the Professor of Chemistry channel on YouTube and start your journey if you want to see what's on my YouTube channel. But everything else is pretty much in the Connect book. So by Thursday, your assignment number 2 is you've read Chapter 1, Portable Electronics, the periodic table in the palm of your hand. All right. And so I try to make it so you're not reading large amounts of material. So it's just chapter 1, this part here. Then you're going through the introduction to section 1.5. So that's generally between 15 and 20 pages. That sounds like a lot, but remember there's a lot of pictures in there as well. And then the The Tuesday on the second week, that's assignment number 3, and we read 1.6 to the end. All right, and then the LS for that chapter is due by 11 p.m. So what I'm saying is that you're going to read through this material probably faster than between Thursday and Tuesday, and some of you will read it this week. As soon as you read this material, if you think you understand it, you can complete the LS for chapter 1. In fact, what most students do is, so you're reading this material maybe on Wednesday for this day, and you start the LS then on Wednesday. So you do a little each day of what you've read, so it says, hey, yeah, I've comprehended what I've read for today. So by the time you get to here, it's already done. Like, you generally have read this material here on the 24th, and you've completed the LS1 here. You didn't wait to the deadline. And you can also work on the assignment. So the assignment is always, the LS and the assignment are always open at the very beginning. Okay. The quiz a little different. The quiz is it opens when the assignment is due generally, and it closes on the day after. So the quiz will open on, because it's a semi-summative assessment. It's, you get more time here, but it opens here and it closes on the 27th. And you say, well, why don't you make the quiz open at the beginning, just like the assignment and the LS? The federal government says that this can't be a correspondence course. This is an online course, so we can't release all the information at once. And so by releasing the quiz at a particular time, that indicates the student has been engaged, that they're following the procedures, and we're not just dumping it all on a student and then somebody else is doing the work. So you're going to see the quizzes are open only for particular days, and same thing for the exams. Like our first exam, it says it's open from 6 a.m. on September 8th till 11 p.m. on September 9th, Wednesday. So the summative assessments have a window of opening. All right, so you can look through this. You do get a fall break, so we'll be off Monday and Tuesday there. Midterm is right there. It says Sunday. It's Sunday. So midterm, last day to withdraw, no withdrawals after Sunday. So if you do plan to withdraw, make sure you turn that in by Sunday. Then, okay. And there we go, five exams, and the final exam. It's released this week, and it's due by no later than 6 p.m. finals week. So you'll get the final exam usually here on the 30th, and you'll have the full week to look at it, read it, and submit it. And again, you don't have to wait till 6 p.m. Most people turn it in sometime this week so they can get it done and they can focus on the classes, their other classes. All right. So that's the syllabus. Make sure you look over it. I can't stress it. The syllabus is really, I think a lot of people discount the syllabus. Yeah, it's not a contract, but it is a path of how things are handled in the class. And we generally refer, anytime there's a question, we always go back to the syllabus to refer to it. So the grading feedback, you've really already seen this. It was in the syllabus. If you want to know more about me, click on the course instructor, and again, tells you how to contact me, how to schedule appointments, and so forth. Course resources, now this can be important. So let's say you're having problems with Connect. You're saying, I'm trying to get on Connect, it's not working. If you click troubleshooting here, these should all come up green checks. If they don't, there's something that's not been loaded on your computer. Maybe the pop-up blocker's on, you need to turn that off because that's where your question generally pops up. So make sure you have all green checks before you continue on in McGraw-Hill. If you don't, those have to be addressed. If you can't address them yourself, you can click digital support and you can click on connect, and then you can here's some of the common ones. You can always hit contact us at the bottom here. But some people are like, well, it'll take forever for this to happen. Well, you can, once you get into the contact, um, you can either call them, you can do a chat, you can do things that are very quick. And they do address students' materials very quickly. And the reason why is if they didn't, then we wouldn't use this book. All right. I mean, you can go down here and click on this, and it's going to pop up virtual support right there. Okay. So don't act, it's not like customer support that you get in everyday life. All right. So that's where you want to go. If you're taking a test or a quiz and something disconnects, you can log back in and get back onto the quiz. Should be fairly quickly. Can't make up that time, but you can get back on. Okay. Starfish, again, there will be reports of your progress in the class throughout the semester. There's one right off the bat if we're concerned about your progress, stuff like accessing materials. Okay. Tutoring, we do have tutoring. You can click on these resources to see what that entails, but we do have tutoring here. Technology, again, I put the McGraw-Hill Connect in here as well. So this technology, again, it's not just McGraw-Hill Connect. If you're having problems with Blackboard, you can contact them. I will say, if you really get into this McGraw-Hill Connect and looking at McGraw-Hill, they do have an app on your phone. You can read the material. You can't take a quiz or an exam or assignment, but you can read. So a lot of people, they're somewhere and they're saying, I'm kind of bored. I'll start reading the materials. You can do that on a phone, but you can't take the materials. And more about accommodations. Just make sure you contact SAS if you need accommodations. Do that now. Do it today. Don't wait until after the first test. And then Netiquette just shows you in how you respond on emails and communication wise. I know most of you do this. If you just want to brush up what netiquette is, you can do that. All right. So that's the contents. And the next thing after that, you got a periodic table, and you can click on that. And that gives you a basic periodic table. And that's what you need for the materials in the course. You might want to print that off so you have that. And it is provided by the American Chemical Society. So we generally, so this numbering system up here is the new numbering system, 1 through 18. The American system is below that. I generally use the new numbering system, but there may be some questions related to the old system. Okay. We have PowerPoints for every chapter. Now, what I will say about the PowerPoints is that you can print these off, you can write your notes on them, but the PowerPoints are great outlines. Like if it's on a PowerPoint, it's probably pretty important. So use that as an outline, write your notes on this. You can use those for your quizzes if you need to. But I like the PowerPoints, especially like that tells you right here that, excuse me, table 1.2, you need to start memorizing these prefixes like kilo, hecto, deca, deci, centi, milli, and what the power of 10 they represent. And yes, you are going to have some math. Look at this math though. You come over here and you see that 1 times 10 to the negative ninth is nano. And they're asking you to convert nanometers into meters. So a nanometer is 10 to the negative ninth of the base unit, which is meter. So from that, you make this conversion factor. The nanometers cancel out. You're left with meters. And that's your answer in meters. So that's the kind of math you're going to be doing. Pretty simple. You learn it in chapter 1, though. Learn it in chapter 1. And you build on that as you progress through chapters 1 through 10 or 11. All right. use those PowerPoints. They're important. It's a great way to establish what we're doing. ChemDraw, I'm not going to click on that right now. I'm going to say we can. I don't think they're accessible, but there they are. There are going to be times we have to draw a structure, three-dimensional structure, or a Lewis structure or something. And so these are just tutorials on how to use that. Electronic Study Hall. I think this is cool. Most students don't use it, but if you have a question or you're not getting something, you can post something in here and maybe another student will help you out. That's what it is. It's kind of like just like study hall. All the students are in the room and you're getting to chat with them about what you like and what you don't like about the Chem 120 and what you need help on. And what I find is if you do have a problem, a lot of times if you post something in here, another student will answer it quicker than I will. All right. Because I'm teaching like 21 hours this semester. So this is a great place for students if they need help quickly to post something. Learning Unit 1, that's chapters 1 and 2. So this tells you what it does, introduces relationship between chemistry and electronics that we use in everyday life and the air that we breathe. And the main topics in this unit are definition of chemistry, measurements, which we just saw, 1 nanometers, 10 to the negative ninth meters, and then classification of matter. If you click on this, you'll have a couple of real world applications for chapters 1 and 2. They're just videos you want to watch that kind of spark an interest in why this is an important chapter. You have a learning unit overview, tells you what you should get out of this class. These are the major objectives that you should get when you read chapter 1. And if you can do that, you're in great shape. If you can change each one of these to a question and you can answer it as a question, you've really understood the material and you're ready to move on. All right, so that's why I have this. This is what we're covering in chapters 1 and 2 for learning unit 1. Then you have the PowerPoint again. I did this because the people who evaluate my Blackboard course shell, they want it in the actual learning unit, so I did that. But it's up here as well. I like it up here where it's all together, but you have another possibility as well here. Then you're learning Unit 1 exercises. I'm not quite completed with this, but it'll tell you what you're doing. It'll tell you when it's due. And so this is from last year. These will change. I haven't updated this yet, but this is where you can access all the materials that are graded in Chemistry 120, other than the final exam. The final exam is actually in Blackboard and not McGraw-Hill Connect. Okay. Let's see what we got else. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, learning unit 2. I mean, I have these open and you can see the progression. So learning unit 2 is 3 and 4, and then we do chapters. This one's 8 and 9 or 9 and 10. This is 11 and 12 or something like that. So these are the learning units, and I do this to break it down into chunks so it's not overwhelming. All you need to focus on right now is learning unit 1 and nothing more. So, okay. Well, I hope this is helpful. If you need additional help, just email me at my email address, brent.eldridge@kctcs.edu. Um, I hope you enjoy the class. It is. I think it's a neat class. I think the key component is the reading, and reading it multiple times, staying ahead of the deadlines. If you stay ahead of the deadlines, the stress is less. You complete LS1 at the end of this week, the stress is less. And that's what it's about. When people get stressed out, whether that be from school or things happening at the house or whatever, that's when education starts to fail. If you don't have security, and in your everyday life, I understand that's going to cause problems in your learning. So what I can help you with is we have resources here. We do have resources here to help you. And then all I'm asking on your part is engage the material, read it until you comprehend it, answer that material ahead of the deadlines so you're not getting stressed out and you really learn it. And you'll do fine in the class. You'll feel like you've accomplished something and you'll be ready for the next class. So that's why I like this class. It is a foundational class, and you see real growth in this class for the students who engage it. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the video. I know it's a long one, but like I say, it is the start that's so important in anything that you do. It's how you start out on the journey, and that's what you're doing here. Thank you.